Well, joining me from Athens, Dimitris Kourkoulas, thank you very much for being with us.
My pleasure.
Now, you've served until now as the Europe Minister in Mr. Samaras' governing coalition. And Mr. Samaras obviously comes from the biggest centre-right party, New Democracy. What's the mood in the coalition? Do you believe that Samaras can still win this election?
According to the opinion polls, it is Syriza who is leading in the opinion polls. But of course we have to wait till the elections on Sunday to know what will be the outcome. But most probably Syriza could be the first party. But what is more important is that the challenges that any government will have to face on Monday are so big that, in my view, only a very big coalition with a very wide popular support could face these challenges.
It's been a very divisive campaign. Antonis Samaras, the outgoing Prime Minister, has waged an aggressive campaign against Syriza, warning Greek voters that the anti-austerity party could lead the country to bankruptcy. The message of the coalition basically is that there is no alternative to the bailout. Let me ask you, would you say that there is no alternative to the current situation?
I think that when Greece entered the crisis in 2010, I think indeed there was no other alternative because we could go to a wild bankruptcy that could be an even bigger catastrophe than the one that we have experienced. But of course now there is room for alternative policies. There is room for giving more emphasis to growth, and in this respect the decisions taken by the European Central Bank yesterday are very important, not only for Greece but for the European Union, for the Eurozone as a whole. So of course there is always the room to discuss and to improve, but there is no doubt in my mind that any Greek government will have to respect its commitments and then have to discuss, as we always do, among European partners.
Do you understand the anger of these Greek voters who say, look, nothing can be worse than what we have now, so why not try Syriza after all? Why not give Mr. Tsipras a chance?
No, I fully understand, because as I said, what happened in the Greek society and economy in the last 5 years is like a tsunami, minus 25% of our GDP, record unemployment, although unemployment is getting slowly down in the last 10 months. There is no doubt that this was a very catastrophic period in the economic and the social field. But what we are trying to explain to our citizens is that now we are very near to the exit. The perspectives for growth in 2015 and 2016 are really very confirmed. We have managed to reduce our deficit from the record of 16% of the GDP below 3%. We have, for the first time in our balance of payment, a positive balance after many decades, which means the Greek economy has become more competitive. Of course, this is not visible yet to the pocket, to the everyday life of our citizens, and it will be a pity after so many sacrifices to sacrifice what has been achieved so far. So I understand their anger, but I think that the anger is not the best way to look to the future. We believe that, of course, there is a need for an adjustment of policies in many fields, but we have to do it in coordination with our European partners, because there is no alternative for Greece than Europe.
But that's precisely what Mr. Tsipras says. He says that he will seek a better deal for Greece with Greece's European partners. Why do you think that he's doomed to fail?
No, I'm not saying it's doomed to fail. It depends on what will be his requests. If his requests are reasonable, why not? And I just want to remind you that even before, in the previous elections in 2012, the Socialist Party has proposed the creation of a national negotiating team with Syriza in it. So that's why I'm saying that what we need is a very broad support, political support of the new government, and especially of the new negotiating team that will go to Brussels and to the European capitals to try to find a solution. We are very close. We were very close before the election to the end of the memorandum because Greece has achieved almost all of what had to be done. So nobody can challenge the fact that Greece has made a lot of progress. And if you compare the situation of today with the situation in 2012, when this government came to office, I think there is a lot of progress that has been achieved. Now, of course, we have to put more emphasis to growth and we have the macroeconomic stability that will allow us to go to a sustainable growth in the years to come.
And yet, despite what you describe as a success story, Greece's debt has soared to 175% of GDP. Does Mr. Tsipras have a point when he says that these levels are no longer sustainable and that part of Greece's debt must be written off?
So, sorry, I never used the term success story. I think it is not the right term to use. I said that we have avoided what could have been even worse, which would have been a wild exit from the Eurozone. As far as the debt is concerned, with the renegotiation that has already been done in 2012, I think that the Greek debt has become much more easy to serve. We have reduced the interest rate, we have extended the repayment period, but as we all know, there is a decision of all our European partners that once Greece has a primary surplus, and this is the case now, they are ready to rediscuss with us how to make the Greek debt even more viable. So the big problem for me is not the debt. The big problem is growth, because it's only through growth that you can create new places for workers, for employment, and only through growth you can make the percentage of your debt lower to what it is today. So in the years to come, the Greek debt, of course, has to be, something has to be done, but this is not the most urgent and the most important problem that the country is facing today.
Dimitris Kourkoulas, thank you very much for talking to us. I remind our viewers that you've served as Europe Minister in Antonis Samaras' coalition government.
Many thanks.